Hi, and welcome back to the Central PA Property Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and this is our co-host, Chris.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
The Central PA Property Talk podcast is produced by 717 Homebuyers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We buy houses for Tash throughout Central PA, but we also want to educate our community and help homeowners make informed decisions when selling a house.
And today's question is, what are the unexpected costs of selling an older house in Central PA?
Right, because at first, the math can seem pretty simple. You look at what similar homes are selling for, subtract what you owe, and figure that's roughly what you'll walk away with. But that number can start shrinking pretty quickly. It can, especially when the house isn't already cleaned out, updated, repaired, and ready for professional photos and showings. And we're not trying to scare anybody today. Not at all. This is just an honest discussion about the costs homeowners may not think about when they first start running the numbers. Because usually it isn't one huge surprise. Right, it's 5 or 10 smaller things that keep getting added to the list. Paint, carpet, landscaping, cleaning, removing furniture, fixing a railing, replacing a few light fixtures. Then somebody looks at the roof. Somebody notices water in the basement. An inspector raises a question about the electrical system. And suddenly, the house that looked almost ready isn't quite as ready as you thought. That's the situation we want to help people think through. This is especially relevant with older homes around Central PA. We have brick row homes, farmhouses, older detached homes, twins, and houses that have been updated a little at a time over several decades.
And an older house doesn't automatically mean a bad house.
Not at all. Some older homes are extremely well built, but they may still have dated finishes, deferred maintenance, previous renovations, or systems that retail buyers are going to look at closely.
So where do the costs usually begin?
Often before the house is even listed. A real estate agent may walk through and recommend painting several rooms, replacing worn flooring, removing wallpaper, trimming trees, improving the landscaping, cleaning out the basement, and getting rid of old furniture.
None of those sounds enormous by itself.
That's the issue. Maybe you spend a few $100s here, $1,500 there, then rent a dumpster, hire cleaners, and pay somebody to handle repairs you don't have time to do yourself. And you're spending that money before you know what a buyer will actually offer. Exactly. Now, sometimes that preparation is worth doing. If the house is fundamentally sound, the work is manageable, and the seller has the time and money, preparing it well for the retail market may help produce a stronger result.
But you need to compare the cost of the work with what it's realistically going to add to the sale.
That's the key. Spending $10,000 doesn't automatically add $10,000 to your net proceeds. Some improvements help a house sell. Others simply bring it up to the condition buyers already expected.
What if the homeowner doesn't want to make the repairs? Couldn't they just list it as is?
They can, but selling as is doesn't necessarily make the financial effect of the problems disappear. The cost may show up as a lower price, fewer interested buyers, a repair credit, or renegotiation after the inspection.
So there's a difference between not paying for a repair and avoiding the cost of that repair.
Exactly. Imagine a homeowner near Harrisburg with a house that has dated carpet, old wallpaper, and a roof that may need attention in the next few years. The seller can choose not to replace the roof, but a buyer may still account for it in the offer or ask for a credit after the inspection. And the inspection is another point where expenses can appear. Right. A seller may accept an offer and feel like the hard part is over. Then the inspection identifies basement moisture, electrical concerns, plumbing leaks, wood damage, or an aging heating system.
Does the seller have to agree to every repair request?
No, that depends on the agreement and the negotiations. The seller may repair something, offer a credit, reduce the price, say no, or decide the deal no longer makes sense. But once those issues enter the conversation, they can affect both the money and the certainty of the sale.
There's also a Pennsylvania disclosure issue here, right?
There is, and we don't want to overstate it. In Pennsylvania, residential sellers generally have to disclose known material defects. That doesn't mean you have to tear open walls or go looking for problems you don't know about. But if you know the basement takes on water, the roof leaks, or there's another material problem, it needs to be handled honestly.
Disclosure and repair are two different questions.
They are. Disclosing a known issue doesn't necessarily mean you have to fix it. The issue might be reflected in the price, negotiated with the buyer, or accepted by someone willing to purchase the property in its present condition.
And we'll link to the official Pennsylvania seller disclosure information in the episode description so people can read the actual requirements.
Yes, this is general information, not legal advice, but homeowners should understand that selling as is doesn't automatically remove every disclosure obligation.
Another expense people bring up is real estate commission. Didn't the commission rules change recently?
The major industry practice changes took effect in August of 2024. Commissions remain negotiable, and there isn't a Pennsylvania law setting one required percentage. But homeowners should be careful about assuming those changes made the total cost dramatically lower. So, if someone says, "I'm a great negotiator, I'll get the commission down to 2%, what should they ask? They should ask what that 2% actually covers. Is that only the listing brokerage's compensation? Could the buyer request that the seller contribute toward the buyer agent's compensation? Are there additional brokerage or transaction fees? In other words, don't confuse one part of the compensation with the total cost of the transaction. Right. Recent private estimates from Clever and Fast Expert still put Pennsylvania total real estate commissions in roughly the mid to upper 5% range. These are surveys, not an official state rate, and every agreement is negotiable. But for somebody doing an early estimate, I would probably use about 6% as a conservative planning number until you've interviewed agents and received the actual terms in writing. You may negotiate something lower, but based on those surveys, assuming the entire compensation expense will come in below 5% may be too optimistic for initial planning.
And we'll link to the sources in the description, including reporting about what has happened since the 2024 changes.
Correct. The goal isn't to criticize realtors. A good agent may provide real value, especially when the house is ready for the retail market. We just want sellers to calculate the full expense rather than relying on one appealing number.
Then there are the costs that keep running while the house is for sale.
Those can be easy to overlook. Mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, electricity, heat, water, lawn care, snow removal, maintenance, and sometimes a second housing payment if you've already moved.
What's the easiest way to calculate that?
Add up what the property really costs you each month, then estimate how many months you may continue owning it before closing. Don't just think about the time the house is listed. Include the preparation period before listing and the time between accepting an offer and closing.
And if a deal falls apart, that clock keeps running.
It does. You may go back on the market, continue paying the bills, and possibly have new information from the inspection that affects the next negotiation.
There's an emotional cost too.
Absolutely. Stress isn't a line item on the closing statement, but it's still part of the decision. There's the pressure of keeping the house clean, leaving for showings, waiting for feedback, dealing with contractors, wondering what the inspection will find, and worrying about whether the buyer will actually make it to closing.
Especially when it's an inherited house, a vacant property, or a home connected with a difficult season of life.
Yes, some homeowners are willing to accept that work and uncertainty because they want to pursue the highest possible retail price. That can be a perfectly reasonable choice.
And others care more about getting a clear number and moving on.
Which brings us to the direct sale option. With 717 home buyers, we make a cash offer based on the property in its current condition. The seller isn't being asked to clean the house, update the paint, replace flooring, improve the landscaping, or make repairs for us.
No traditional showings either.
Right. And because we're looking at the house as it sits, the homeowner can compare that offer against the realistic net result of listing.
Not just the hoped-for sale price.
Exactly. A cash offer shouldn't be compared with the best possible listing price while ignoring everything it may take to reach that price. Compare what you may receive, what you'll spend, how long it may take, and how much work and uncertainty you're accepting.
When is listing probably the better option?
If the house is already in strong condition, you have time, you're comfortable with showings and negotiations, and your priority is pursuing the highest possible price, talking with a good local agent may make the most sense.
And when might a direct sale deserve a closer look?
When the house needs significant work, you don't want to invest more money into it, the property is becoming a burden, or speed and certainty matter more than maximizing the headline price.
So what should a homeowner do before choosing?
Build a realistic comparison. Estimate the preparation costs, repairs, commissions, possible concessions, and monthly holding costs. Then compare the likely net proceeds and the amount of effort required under each option.
And if you want to see this laid out a little more clearly, we've also got a helpful decision-making guide and infographic on our website. We'll link that in the episode description. If you're trying to decide whether to repair, list as is, or sell directly, call us at 717-321-SOLD or visit 717homebuyers.com. We'll look at the property, explain how we arrived at the offer, and give you another option to compare.
No pressure, just helpful information so you can make the decision that fits your house and your situation.
Exactly. If listing makes more sense, that's useful to know too. The goal is to understand the real numbers before you commit.
Thanks for listening to the Central PA Property Talk podcast.
Be sure to check out our other podcasts and videos and subscribe, like, or follow for more helpful information about selling a house in Central Pennsylvania.
We appreciate you spending some time with us today.
We hope you have a great day.